Tonight on Bridge City News, Prime Minister Trudeau announces more help for Canadians abroad to get back home, but he acknowledged not everyone will get the help they need. The number of candidates vying for the Conservative leadership is starting to shrink, with now only 4 remaining on the ballot. And country music legend Kenny Rogers has died at the age of 81.
Your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News with Paul Arthur.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Prime Minister Trudeau held a press conference this morning to announce enhanced help for Canadians abroad to get flights home. They will not be allowed to fly with symptoms and must go into 2 weeks isolation when they arrive home.
Today, I can announce that we're working with Canadian Airlines to make commercial flights available for as many Canadians who are stranded as possible. We will also be working with other countries to ensure that our airlines have the permissions and other supports necessary to fly. The first flight is leaving Morocco this weekend and is being operated by Air Canada. We're currently working with other airlines on similar arrangements. And there will be more flights from other locations in the coming days. This potentially includes Peru and Spain. Other countries will be announced as soon as possible. As we make these decisions, factors like the number of Canadians there, airspace closures, and the local situation are being taken into account. Now, we won't be able to reach everyone, but we're going to do our best to help those we can. To make sure we can get information to people as quickly as possible, all Canadians overseas should register with Global Affairs Canada if they've not already done so. You can do this by going online to travel.gc.ca. The same public health policies will apply to these flights as to anyone else who's coming into the country. Everyone on these flights has to isolate for 14 days once they're back. I also want to remind everyone that if you're showing symptoms of COVID-19, you won't be able to board.
Non-essential travel with Canada's northern territories has now been restricted as well. At this point, there are no cases of COVID-19 in the territories. And the shutdown at the Canada-U.S. border is now officially in effect. Cases of all non-essential cross-border traffic, such as tourists and people looking to do some shopping, are now banned until further notice. Travel considered essential is still allowed. Truckers hauling freight, health professionals, and others who work on one side of the border but live on the other. On the home front, the University of Lethbridge is making further efforts to flatten the COVID-19 curve by encouraging resident students to vacate their residences and return to their homes wherever possible. However, student residences will remain open for those who cannot return home or feel it is safer to stay on campus. Additionally, for students who are not able to return home beyond April 20th, the U of L says arrangements can be made to stay in their campus residences. Alberta had its single biggest one-day jump in novel coronavirus cases yesterday, 49, bringing the total to 195. 5 of those people are in intensive care. So far, Alberta has completed more than 17,000 tests for COVID-19. Some new measures to thwart the spread of the virus include tighter limits on visits to seniors' facilities. And starting next week, select child care centres will be reopened to provide help for essential staff, starting with health care workers. Alberta's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Dina Hinshaw, says their office is getting a lot of questions about the new restrictions.
One question has been about whether it is safe to be outside when someone is self-isolating. I want to be clear that there is no danger to others if someone who is self-isolating goes for a walk outside and stays 2 meters away from others. Being outside and active is an important support for health, both physical and mental, and should be encouraged. With respect to other activities, I know under normal circumstances, many Albertans would be gearing up to visit their local farmers markets this weekend. At this point, these markets are in the same category as grocery stores and shopping centres and can remain open.
BC's Provincial Health Officer, Dr. Bonnie Henry, says the number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 in British Columbia has grown to 348, with the addition of 77 new cases announced yesterday. Henry also ordered all restaurants in the province to close except for takeout and delivery service.
So today we are announcing that we have 77 new cases tested here in British Columbia for a total of 348 people. This includes 200 in Vancouver Coastal Health, 95 in the Fraser Health Region, 30 in Vancouver Island, 19 in the Interior Health Region, and 4 in the Northern Health Region. Of those, 22 people have been hospitalized, are in hospital at the moment. 10 of those people are in ICU, and 6 have now recovered fully from this disease. I did want to talk as well. We have a couple of long-term care facility outbreaks, including in our numbers a new healthcare worker who's identified associated with the Dufferin Care Centre, and that centre is now being managed as an outbreak, as we do whenever we detect a case in a healthcare facility. So Fraser Health is addressing that issue today.
Manitoba is the latest province to declare a state of emergency to reduce the spread of COVID-19. The designation gives legal force to social distancing directives. Effective yesterday, the province has limited the size of public gatherings to no more than 50 people for a period of 30 days. The order includes faith-based gatherings and family events such as weddings and funerals. Public health officials say the number of lab-confirmed positive and presumptive positive cases in Manitoba remains at 17. Some Ontario inmates will be released early as the province tries to slow the spread of the coronavirus in correctional facilities. The Solicitor General has announced the use of temporary absences will be expanded for low-risk inmates near the end of their sentence. Sylvia Jones says the Ontario Parole Board will also be allowed to conduct hearings electronically or through writing rather than solely in person. The Ontario government has reached a tentative contract with the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario. Education Minister Stephen Lecce announced the deal yesterday evening. No details were released, but Lecce says the government committed to maintaining class sizes and full-day kindergarten, investing in special education, and a fair increase in compensation. ETFO is the largest teachers' union in the province and is the second major one after Catholic teachers to reach a deal during a highly contentious round of bargaining. Lecce says he is now focused on landing the remaining deals. The ballot for the Conservative leadership race is starting to shrink. Alberta businessman Rick Peterson is abandoning his bid, citing the party's refusal to adjust eligibility rules in the midst of the COVID-19 crisis. Ontario Conservative activist Jim Karahalios has been kicked out of the race following a series of emails sent to supporters allegedly attacking the campaign of a rival. There are 4 names on the ballot: Leslyn Lewis, Peter MacKay, Aaron O'Toole, and Derek Sloan. Conservative Party members are scheduled to elect a new leader on June 27th. A member of U.S. Vice President Mike Pence's staff has tested positive for COVID-19. Pence's office was notified yesterday evening of the positive test result. The person is apparently the first person on the president or vice president's staff to test positive. An official for Pence says the staff member did not have close contact with either Pence or Donald Trump. The U.S. is hurting when it comes to medical supplies because of the COVID-19 outbreak in China. It imports the vast majority of its medical supplies from China, and the disruption in the supply chain is now leading to delays in rebuilding rapidly dwindling stockpiles. This includes a lack of testing swabs, protective masks, surgical gowns, and hand sanitizer. Country Music Hall of Famer Kenny Rogers has died. The 81-year-old died from natural causes last night at his Georgia home in hospice care, surrounded by his family. Rogers had 24 #1 hits and was the winner of 6 CMA Awards and 3 Grammys.
Yeah, I have this theory that I can only compete in one of 2 ways. I can do what everybody else is doing and do it better, and I don't like my chances, or I can do something nobody else is doing and I don't invite comparison. But you have to have something good. When I did The Greatest, no one had ever heard a song like that before. Buy Me a Rose was so totally different from everything that was going on.
It's the first time the 3 of us have worked together. I've worked with Glenn, Glenn's worked with Tammy, I've worked with Tammy. But I don't think that we've ever been in the same room together at the same time, as a matter of fact. So it really should be fun.
Good. We're taking him everywhere. We're showing him London. Fitting you well. The good news as well.
Yeah, I think, well, country music is the white man's rhythm and blues. It's where the pain is. And I think that for me, when I left the jazz group and I went to the New Christy Minstrels, what I learned from that was a story song with social significance.
It's just been a thrill and a wonderful ride for me. That was my lucky day when I met Kenny, and we recorded Islands in the Stream, and Lord, we've just had a whole lifetime together then.
He will most certainly be missed. Recapping one of our top news stories, Prime Minister Trudeau has announced more help for Canadians abroad to get back home, but he acknowledged the government will not be able to help everyone in need. And a look at weekend weather. Sure nice to see the sunshine melting our snow, but we will likely have a bit more of the fluffy white stuff tonight with a 60% chance of flurries and a low of -7, clearing up tomorrow with a sunny high of +7. Farming has changed a lot over the last few decades with new technology and new methods of tending to crops. Hal Roberts sat down with Ken Coles, Executive Director with Farming Smarter, to learn what's new. That interview is coming right up, but first, here's a look at what's happening in and around your community.
Here's your Bridge City News Community Calendar. Woods Homes Emergency Youth Shelter, The Core, helps families struggling with parent-adolescent conflict by providing crisis support. The shelter is open from 5 p.m. to 8:30 a.m. every day. They also offer professional counseling, referrals, and housing first supports throughout the day. For more information, visit woodshomes.ca or call 1-800-563-6106. Lethbridge Legal Guidance is a non-profit society offering free legal advice to low-income Southern Albertans. It holds clinics on Tuesdays from 5 to 7 p.m. by appointment only. Some of the areas the society assists in include family, criminal, traffic, immigration, EI, and other issues. For more information, call 403-380-6338 or email Lethbridge Legal Guidance at telus.net. And that's your Bridge City News Community Calendar.